Hello guys, welcome back, or welcome if you're new. It's Christian from Emotions in Wine. Today we are back on the series of my iconic wines. This is the second chapter. If you missed the first one, by the way, the link is below, about probably the best Hungarian winery of white wines. So even today, white wine, but this time from Italy, and not from my region or neighboring, but far away. So Campania region, which is also one of the underrated, as I stated in the video about the lesser known regions. And so today we start to talk also about Campania in the biggest way, so with something very special to me, and not just the wine, of course, the winery itself. And I picked one of the symbolic wines, but of course we could talk about the whole winery. So is for plenty of reasons an iconic wine to me. Soon I think will be also recognized. Already in Italy is quite a bit. You will understand why. But of course, internationally it's still not that much. First of all, because the winery is not that old. It's just 22, 23 years around. But Luigi Moio, the founder, is from an historical family in Campania. But he created his own project separate from the family. So that's why the winery is relatively young. But of course in Italy is very famous, especially in the south, and getting more recognition also abroad. So Quintodecimo, Giallo Darles, Greco di Tufo, 22 vintage, 13 alcohol. You see the bottle, very important. Everything is important in this project. So he was born in the wine in Campania, but a bit more north, Falerno appellation. That is where the father was making the area quite famous. He lived the wine since he was a child. So he started to study immediately agronomy and then enology. And in 1990, he went to Burgundy to deepen his studies about wine aromas, flavors, and these things. So he stayed there 4 years in the most important region probably in the world. That probably made him do the final upgrade in his knowledge of everything, also for sure of the oaks and the more scientific approach in the winemaking, because French are the best in that. The use of oak that they do is incomparable. So after that he's since long time enology professor at the University of Naples, and he started in 2001 this project on his own. So Quintodecimo in Irpinia, so the most important part of Campania, in the inner, not that far from Naples, but inner is 400, 500, 600 meters the vineyards. There are the Apennines behind up to 1000 something. So it's the most prestigious area where the three most important grapes are present with the DOCGs, all three of them. So Aglianico, the red, with Taurasi, where the winery is based in Mirabella e Clano, is exactly the village. There is the cellar with the vineyards around, that is in the middle of Taurasi area at about 450 meters. And then a bit more southwest are Fiano, and northwest of Fiano is Greco, all in a small area. And nowadays he's making about 150,000 bottles. Quite a big production now of the three grapes. So Greco di Tufo, Fiano di Avellino and Falanghina, and a smaller one of reds, Aglianico, and then of course Taurasi in few versions, Riserva, etc. So he is an important man, one of the most important in this moment, also for the Italian international movement of wine, with all the crises that we are living about the young generations not drinking wine, the alcohol label as criminalizing even this, which is, as he says, and I totally agree, is first of all culture, history, bond, especially for us Italians, Greek, French, Spanish, is art, because the boutique, the concept that I always look for, is really art when they interpret, when they work in harmony. As we always say, harmony is the most important. So first in the field, and then the interaction of the man in harmony with nature. So he's doing all organic, but the wines are not certified. It's the farming organic. I don't have all the details in this. Italians often overlook, because even the maceration, I don't know if it's done. I guess not, because the color of Greco in particular is very golden naturally from the grapes that get really gold when they are ripe. So I guess he's not doing any maceration, he's just talking about the fermentation. So that is a bit lag. As I was saying, really his harmonic approach to nature, and also the cella underneath the house in the middle of the vineyard. Of course, that is only for the Aglianico grapes, because the others are a bit away. He is transmitting all these messages also in TV, in shows, in everything. So he's a big potato, let's say, to help the wine to get the proper recognition that today is in danger, and to have the movement to strive to give the proper message. That is the best way to express. So he is a very important man, not just in the product that he gives us, but also he's always saying wine is giving something to your soul, especially when staying together with other people, your beloved friends. So he's really giving you, of course, in moderation. He's really emotions, he's really making you feel well. That is the message for the young generation. So I hope him and also some of us doing these things on YouTube can help to understand what this is. Not like drinking any other alcohol. It's something special. The alcohol is just because of the fermentation coming out, but the concept is all that is behind, from nature to the cultural history, the art, and everything. So I start to pour because I didn't open that long ago, but I will do even tomorrow tasting because it's important. And I know the winery since the early days. I was selling it in Italy already in 2007, around that, so just the first years. Now the vineyards are all about 20 years old, so he started mostly from scratch, picking the right locations. So Giallo Darles is the name of the crew. Of course, it's not classification, no crews. There are no classification of any kind there at the moment, like in Burgundy or Piedmont, but he is following that way in everything. You will see in the winemaking, he found locations that he considered giving great result. So this vineyard is near Tufo, which is the village, given the name Greco di Tufo, appellation DOCG, and it's at 450 meters roughly. So you can see, I guess, the color is quite golden already, 22, just 2 years standing. As said, typical. So winemaking. So as I said, 23 years now, more or less, is becoming very important. The top restaurants in Italy have even verticals of his wines. They are all expensive. Every white in retail in Italy is at least 45 euros. Even this one a bit more. And the French knowledge from Burgundy. So he's doing 70% for all the whites, 70% still, 30% new French barrique fermentation. So basically he's putting only for the fermentation period the wine in oak, and then he's staying on the fine lees for several months in still again. He reached already in the time the complexity, the elegance, the finesse that very few are able to reach. In Campania you have very top wines. We will discover when I will speak more about these regions, Irpinia in particular, but these kind of levels were unarrived before. So this 450 meters more or less, clay limestone, so a bit classic. The minerality is usually marking later ripening, so the harvest is in mid-October. That's why also the sugar is not that high, so the alcohol consequently, so that helps for the elegance. And the wines usually are on the fruit, the minerality is always pronounced. Of course, in his case, there is much more thanks also to the oaks, so it's less traditional because of the use of the oak, giving more complexity. But the point is how you do it. That is always the secret. So, elegance immediately, very delicate. Some white and also yellow fruit. There is also a touch of creaminess, but very delicate. And very, very delicate spicy touch, more herbal, I would say. Yes. It's a long time I don't try it, but we are always there. Harmony. Even the use of oak in perfect balance with the wine. Just expressing more. So what is the man? Interpreting nature and then adding the science knowledge to make the result of the final wine the best possible. Glycerin, more than creamy, I would say, which usually is related to the alcohol level, but here is really this in a way roundness, but then you have the acidity on the palate, the already balanced, but his wines can age very well, even the whites. Besides the oak, also because of naturally the yields are very low. Here we're talking about 35 hectoliters per hectare, which is very low. And the freshness, the minerality, in harmony with the fruits, with the touch of spiciness. Suave. I don't even know if it's correct in English. In Italian we say soave, which is also the name of a wine. Is really that the first impression that you have smelling this wine. You can think about Burgundy, really. Of course, it's different grape, different area. In South Italy, as I said, is quite high with the months behind, late harvest, so it's not really south. There is more rain, and the hot is never crazy, but the style reminding Burgundy is there. Yeah, already finesse, great finesse. The fruit still prevailing, the mineral, then this touch of spiciness, herbal. Keep changing, so we will see much more tomorrow. Yeah, it's already balanced. You have the acidity, the nice minerality, it's very dry, but it's already quite balanced. Of course, can age well, but now it's super. 2-3 years is the minimum to drink and appreciate these wines. When they are just 1 or up to 2 is too young. They need a bit of time to harmonize more, to express better. And you have the touch of sweet fruit, a bit of this glycerin, not creamy, no. Spice or herbal, very little, a touch of bitter maybe, but very, very delicate spiciness. So the use of oak is impressive. It's just giving something more to the wine. So far outstanding as usual. I'm quite impressed again, and we will see more in the next phase. So here we are, 24 hours after. So it showed more complexity already yesterday evening, of course. Actually, after a while, after my filming, it already showed a good development. It's still a young wine, so there is not huge complexity besides the top quality, top refinement, etc. But of course, still relatively young, and also remember, still relatively young vines. So when these two things will get older, will bring more complexity, is obvious. Now you cannot expect huge. But the most interesting point is that all came together. So really the delicacy, the refinement, and nothing prevailing on the rest. So really harmony, as he states. That is the perfect definition. So let's see now. Even the fruit always delicate, even now is more some citrusy. There was a bit even yesterday, besides the white and yellow, all delicate, but now is a bit more citrusy and refreshing nose. Yeah, even the minerality is giving some refreshing note. All along, very minimal influence of the oak. If you are not expert, you cannot even get it probably. Really a touch of herbs. Yeah, the elegance is unbelievable. The length, how the mouth is full and salivating, so the fresh, the mineral, but even the fruit, and then the touch of herbs feeling staying there. Fantastic, fantastic. Great match even with lighter seafood dish. I was expecting a need of more because of the oak, but really I think even compared to 15 years ago when I started to know it, he reached a further refinement, probably a better knowledge of the oak usage. So it's outstanding wine. For sure the best white wine I tasted so far in my videos. Class, world class, really. Really how everything stays together is the most important point. We can say it's not huge complexity yet, but it's a great complexity, super refinement and depth. So a great wine, great wine. I hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, comment please, and salute.